to be honest with you, I was copying what I heard on record and trying to do it that way. And as time went by...
They called him God. Graffiti on a London subway wall declared it. Fans believed it. But Eric Clapton never wanted the title. He just wanted to play blues. Real blues.
She's wondering what clothes to wear.
The kind that came from Mississippi cotton fields and Chicago smokehouses. For 6 decades, Slowhand chased purity. He left bands at their peak. He turned down fame for authenticity. He studied masters who died before he was born. Behind that laid-back demeanor lived a devoted scholar.
I want to talk about what it was like to be a musician, a serious musician who couldn't be in the band.
A purist who measured everything against impossible standards. These 7 albums were not just influences. They were blueprints for devotion, sacred texts of the blues religion. Here is what shaped the guitarist who walked away from glory to find truth. 7. Purple Rain. This was genius without boundaries. When Prince released Purple Rain in 1984, he destroyed every rule about what black music could be. Rock guitar screamed alongside funk grooves. The gospel choir met synthesizer heaven. The title track stretched past 8 minutes, building from whisper to storm. When Dove's Cry had no bass line and became a monster hit anyway. Let's Go Crazy opened with a funeral turned into celebration. Prince proved categories were prisons. Eric Clapton discovered the album during his darkest period, struggling with addiction and isolation. He found Purple Rain on a BBC radio show called Desert Island Discs. Asked about his favorite records, Clapton shocked listeners by naming Prince alongside blues legends.
And it suited him so perfectly, and that's what London wanted right then.
Listeners may have been startled to hear him choose operatic excerpts among his most coveted records, as well as Muddy Waters and his all-time favorite Purple Rain, the show noted. What moved Clapton was fearlessness. Prince played every instrument on most tracks. He sang falsetto one moment, growled the next. He wore purple suits and challenged masculinity. He fused Minneapolis with Memphis, rock with R&B, without asking permission. Purple Rain showed Clapton that evolution didn't mean abandonment, that respecting tradition while pushing forward was possible, that guitar solos could still matter in the synthesizer age. The album sold 13 million copies and won an Oscar. But for Clapton, Purple Rain represented something deeper, proof that devotion to craft transcended genre, that black music kept reinventing American sound, that being yourself completely was the only path to greatness. Prince never compromised, never explained, just created. Clapton recognized a kindred spirit, chasing perfection on his own terms. 6. The Chirping Crickets. This was the future arriving early. Released in 1957, The Chirping Crickets showed rock and roll could be more than teenage rebellion.
I want only you. You got 2 eyes so you can see.
Buddy Holly wore glasses and looked like a school teacher, but he held a Fender Stratocaster like a weapon. That'll Be the Day kicked things off with a riff that changed everything. Oh Boy bounced with joy. Not Fade Away predicted everything the Stones would do later. Clapton called this the first album he ever bought. He was 12 years old, saving money, desperate to own something. Then he saw Buddy Holly perform on Sunday night at the London Palladium. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven, Clapton remembered. It was like seeing an instrument from outer space, and I said to myself, that's the future. That's what I want.
I thought, oh, you can do whatever you like. You can dictate, so...
The Stratocaster became Clapton's signature guitar because of Holly. That clean, bright sound, those crisp rhythms. Holly proved you didn't need to be dangerous looking to be revolutionary. His songs were short, simple, and perfect. 3 chords arranged with intelligence, melodies that stuck forever. The Crickets played tight as a fist. No wasted notes. Holly died in a plane crash in 1959 at 22. But this album survived as a blueprint. The Beatles studied it. The Stones covered it. Clapton carried it his entire life. The Chirping Crickets taught him that songcraft mattered, that being yourself worked better than imitating others, that a Stratocaster in the right hands could change the world. Holly showed Clapton his path before Clapton knew he needed one. 5. Music from Big Pink. This was sanity returning to rock. Released in 1968, music from Big Pink arrived when everyone else was tripping on psychedelia and studio tricks. The band recorded in a basement. They played like a family. The Weight told stories about ordinary people. Chest fever built on a gospel organ. Tears of rage ached with loss. Nothing was flashy. Everything was real. Clapton heard this record and felt relief. What I appreciated about the band was that they were more concerned with songs and singing, he explained.
Jack and Ginger would go off and do their stuff, and I'd put this tape on.
Rock had gotten too loud, too self-indulgent. Guitar solos stretched past reason. Egos dominated music. Then the band reminded everyone that songs mattered most, that supporting each other beat showing off. The album influenced Clapton's entire direction. He was tired of Cream's extended jams, tired of being called God, tired of volume for volume's sake. Music from Big Pink showed another way. Robbie Robertson's guitar served the song instead of dominating it. Levon Helm's drums felt human, not mechanical. Richard Manuel's voice carried ghosts. They sounded like they'd been playing together for decades because they understood restraint. Clapton started chasing that simplicity immediately. He wanted to be part of a band, not a star above it. Music from Big Pink proved that roots could be radical, that looking backward could push music forward, that craftsmanship beats spectacle every time. The band never tried impressing anyone. They just played honestly. Clapton spent the next decade trying to capture that same unpretentious magic. 4. Live at the Regal. This was the master class. Recorded in Chicago in 1964, Live at the Regal captured B.B. King at his absolute peak. Every note from Lucille sang with purpose. Every vocal line dripped with experience. How blue can you get told the truth about heartbreak?
Nobody loves me. Nobody seems to care.
Sweet Little Angel floated on perfect phrasing. The crowd responded like a church congregation. This wasn't just a concert. This was communion. Clapton studied this album like scripture. B.B. King became more than an influence. He became family.
He was the kind of the elder statesman, which B.B. is now, I suppose. You know, he's like...
Muddy Waters was the father figure I never really had, Clapton wrote in his autobiography. But B.B. was the teacher who showed him how to make the guitar sing. Not shred, not show off, sing. What separated B.B. from everyone else was restraint. He played fewer notes than other guitarists, but said more. His vibrato was instantly recognizable. Those bent strings that seemed to cry. The way he'd let one note hang in the air until it became a statement. Live at the Regal captured all of it perfectly. The sound was raw and immediate. You could hear the room, feel the crowd, sense the electricity. Years later, Clapton and B.B. recorded Riding with the King together. 2 generations, one spirit. B.B. was 74. Clapton was 55. The respect between them was obvious. B.B. had opened doors for white blues guitarists like Clapton by proving blues was universal. Live at the Regal remained the standard neither could top. The album that showed everyone how blues should be played. 3. Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton. This was Clapton becoming God. Released in 1966, Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton announced a new guitar hero to Britain. Clapton had just quit the Yardbirds because they went commercial. He joined John Mayall to play pure blues. Nothing else mattered.
Never knew what I was missing. All your love, pretty baby.
All Your Love dripped with intensity. Hideaway showcased his technique. Have You Heard was breathtaking. At 21, Clapton ripped through Chicago blues with ferocity nobody expected. The recording sessions were revolutionary for one reason. Clapton ignored the engineer's orders to turn down. He cranked his amplifier loud, achieving that thick singing tone, the woman tone he later described. Gibson Les Paul through Marshall amp, everything pushed to the edge. The result was a sound that defined British blues forever. John Mayall gave Clapton freedom to explore. More importantly, Mayall's record collection became Clapton's university. Mayall owned every important blues record ever made. Robert Johnson, Muddy Waters, Freddie King, B.B. King. Clapton absorbed everything. I learned all that I really have to draw on today in terms of technique and desire to play the kind of music I love to play, Clapton said about his time with Mayall.
Desire to play the kind of music I love to play.
This album launched the Clapton is God graffiti. Fans had never heard British guitar like this. Raw, powerful, authentic. Not trying to sound American. Not trying to be anything except honest. Blues Breakers proved Clapton was serious about blues, that he'd sacrifice commercial success for artistic integrity. The album became required listening for everyone who picked up a guitar in Britain afterward. 2. Let's hide away and dance away. This was the sound that changed everything. Released in 1961, Freddie King's instrumental album arrived like electricity. Hideaway opened with that unforgettable riff. San Jose grooved relentlessly. The stumble showed Texas swagger meeting Chicago power. Freddie played with a thumb pick and steel finger pick, creating a tone that cut through walls. His guitar didn't just play notes, it attacked them. Clapton heard Freddie King before any other blues guitarist. I Love the Woman was the first time I heard that electric lead guitar style, with the bent notes, Clapton explained. It started me on my path. That one song sent him into what he called complete ecstasy. It also scared him. I'd never heard anything like it, and I thought I'd never get anywhere near it. But Clapton tried anyway. He studied every Freddie King lick. The way Freddie combined country blues from Texas with electric Chicago sound, that aggressive picking style, those soaring bends, the confidence in every phrase. British guitarists like Peter Green and Mick Taylor did the same. They all worshipped at the altar of Freddie King's instrumentals. Let's Hide Away became the textbook. Every track offered lessons in phrasing, tone, and feeling. Freddie never played a wasted note, never showed off for showing off's sake. His solos served the groove while showcasing incredible technique. That balance influenced Clapton forever. When he later played with Freddy on the Burglar album in 1974, Clapton was playing with his first guitar hero, the man who showed him what electric blues could be. 1. King of the Delta Blues Singers. This was the foundation of everything. Released in 1961, King of the Delta Blues Singers introduced the world to Robert Johnson 23 years after his death. Crossroad blues haunted with desperation. Love in Vain ached with loss. Hellhound on My Trail suggested something darker than heartbreak. Johnson's voice was raw and vulnerable. His guitar sounded like two players at once. Bass lines, rhythm, lead all happening simultaneously. Recorded in a Texas hotel room in 1936, these songs felt ancient and timeless. Clapton discovered this album as a teenager and everything changed. Robert Johnson is the most important blues musician who ever lived, he wrote. I have never found anything more deeply soulful than Robert Johnson. Johnson became Clapton's single most important influence, not just a guitarist to study, a spiritual guide to follow. What moved Clapton was Johnson's complete vulnerability. When I first listened to Johnson, I was completely overwhelmed by his vulnerability, he explained. Johnson sang about pain without protection, about devils and demons that felt real, about loneliness that consumed everything. His guitar work was impossibly sophisticated for its era, techniques that wouldn't become common for decades. Yet it all served emotion, not ego. The album sparked the British blues explosion. Keith Richards discovered it. So did Brian Jones, Peter Green, and Jeff Beck. But Clapton went deepest. He recorded an entire album of Johnson songs in 2004 called Me and Mr. Johnson. He spent his life trying to capture that same honesty. King of the Delta Blues Singers taught Clapton that blues was more than music. It was a way of facing truth without flinching. Johnson showed him the path. Clapton walked it forever. Eric Clapton never wanted to be God, because these albums showed him the real masters. He chased their ghosts for 60 years, not to copy them, but to honor them. Devotion over fame, truth over technique, respect over revolution. Subscribe for more stories from artists who bowed to greatness. Keep listening, keep learning.